Ty Bartel in with another edition of Player Profile. This time I'm with one of the queen of kills over there in Archbishop Hoban High School, Amber Watson. I like to call her Amber Swatson as well, joining me today. Amber, how are we doing right now?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining me today. I want to talk about your role on this team. You're one of the top kill getters too, and you talk about this team for the last 2 years. In the last 40 matches, you guys have only lost 17 sets, one match in those last 40 as well. It's a really good team. You returned just about everybody from last year -1. Talk to me about your role on this team. Talk to me about playing with this team, how much success you guys have, and how you're able to go up against these gargantuan programs night in and night out and show that you're able to compete and you're right there with them.
Yeah, being a part of this team is like truly special. Like you said, like we only had one senior last year, so pretty much everyone returned. Winning these matches it's tough, especially in our match on what day was that? Wednesday versus Magnificant. That was a tough one, and we were just so gritty within it, and that was so great. And just having the success that we have had this season is just so special.
I want to talk about your development in the sport of volleyball too, because I mean, I'm not even exaggerating when I say you're probably one of the most athletic volleyball players I've seen, especially in our network and every team that we got on the YSN family too. Talk to me about how much work goes into this sport. When did you start in this sport? And how much have you put into developing yourself into it?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was 6 years old. My mom, she played volleyball in college at Malone University, so she kind of got me into it and then started me off with some like clinics and stuff like that. And then I started playing club when I was 12. I put a lot of work in outside of volleyball. I do a lot of lifting, 2 to 3 days a week, outside of the season. So just a lot of extra work, extra reps, to be the best that I can be on the court for my team.
What was one of the biggest challenges that you had when developing yourself? Like, what were those things that you had to kind of, I guess, overcome or get yourself to be up to par at? I would say, I guess, when you were developing yourself.
So I originally started playing middle, which is why I'm able to hit some of the balls inside like ones and slides. I'm able to run those pretty good. But I started there, and then as a middle, you don't really pass a lot because you have the libero going for you. So just trying to adjust to the six rotation rule was a little difficult because serve receive is tough. Even now it is. So just kind of taking the reps, doing the reps for that was probably the challenging part, but it's fun. So.
When you talk about the team that you get to play on too with the Knights too, talk to me about just the what makes you guys so tough to I guess beat. I mean, so no matter you talk 3 set losses this season. I mean, you girls are doing an incredible job. What is it about your team? What do you think it is about the team that makes you guys such a good cohesive unit? Because we see teams that have the talent but don't necessarily get the wins like you guys are.
Yeah, so on the talent side, we have so many good players. Like our front row is we have quite a few hitters that can put the ball away really easily, which helps a lot. And then our back row, get those balls up for the team. Like skills wise, we're great. We have a lot of volleyball IQ, but on the other side, we're a really close knit group. We played together for a really long time so far. So, and then also just that family aspect on the team. Our little motto thing is "we over me." So when we go out on the court, trying to rise above those other teams is really important for us.
You also talk about the family aspect. I'm also interested to know the family aspect inside your family too. You talked about your mother being in college volleyball and getting you into it. Talk to me about that relationship. Talk to me about just your family relationship as a whole too, family support within the sport.
Yeah, so pretty much my whole family played volleyball on my mom's side. Her cousins went to Hoban, they all played volleyball. My mom played volleyball at Hoban, her sisters played volleyball. Her sisters were actually part of the state championship team back in 1992. So hopefully we can run that back this year. That would be awesome. But just having my mom there to support me at matches and stuff has just like been such a blessing because she's always there at all my club tournaments. She supports me and my sister so much, and sometimes I'm like, oh, like, what am I doing on this ball? And she's like, oh, you're good. You know what to do. You got this. So she definitely, influenced how I play and what my mindset is for sure.
You ever ask for the advice on what does it take to get to that state championship? How do I make that type of run like you did?
Yeah. So, we're just kind of working with it. I think we might have one of the old Hoban coaches come in and talk to us about going to state and what it takes. So that's going to be really fun.
You talked about this. This was the goal of the team last year. I know you guys came up just short, but it kind of just made the hunger for it, I feel like, even stronger going into this year. What is the confidence to, I guess you don't want to say cockiness because I don't feel like you guys are, but how do you guys balance that out to where you're confident that you're going to be able to get to that stage, but not, I guess, overthink that next opponent or become egotistical about it?
This year I definitely had to take in more of a leadership role vocally. So I say to the team often, I'm like, hey guys, we got a big target on our backs this year. We went undefeated last year. Obviously we're having the same success this year. So everyone's kind of out to get us after every game. So, going into a game, doesn't matter what the opponent's record is, and everyone's there to beat us. So we just gotta, like I said, rise above against them. So.
How are you able to rise above great defenses that I know game plan to try to take you out of the equation of a lot of offensive schemes too? How are you able to rise above it? How are you able to deal with the pressure that's on your shoulders now, game in and game out, as one of the senior leaders?
Yeah, so for me, finishing on my end, like getting those kills is really important, working through those big blocks because as we get to playoffs, those blocks are only going to get bigger. So doing what I can to finish out for my team and being a good supporter for them as well.
What is it like now that the divisions have expanded? Now that you guys, it's no longer the four divisions going into playoffs; it's a little bit expanded. So, I mean, the pools are a little bit different now, competition wise. Are you guys giving much thought into that, or you're just going on next team up mentality?
We're going off of next team up, but also the draw hasn't happened yet, so we're not really sure what we're going to see up ahead, obviously, because of the changes. So we'll just have to find out, I guess.
Yeah, I'm talking more like just looking at those bigger teams, those bigger
Mhm.
schools that might be a challenge for you guys. But I mean, you guys have been dealing with challenges all this season. When you talk about this gauntlet of a schedule too, and going game in and game out with multiple teams that have been to state championships, won state championships, are in regional conversation almost year in and year out. What's it like when you have this type of schedule too? I'm sure club volleyball also helps prepare you for it too. But what's it like going up against this competition night in and night out?
Honestly, it's so much fun because playing those teams is really it's a lot of pressure for sure, but like we just play so well against teams like that. Our match on Tuesday versus St. Joe's, that's going to be another really tough one to fight through. But I'm really excited, and once we get into playoffs, those teams are only going to get better. So.
What's your advice to some younger players on the team now and some players that are coming up on how they can be successful, how they can find success either in the position you're in with the outside or even other positions as well?
I'd say, for sure, trust the process. Everyone's kind of in a different position, especially within like skill wise, but always work hard, look for support systems and just be confident in yourself.
You talked about the family aspect. You talked about the mentorship as well too with these younger players. What's it like now having another season with Kaylee on the team and being able to have that relationship while going forward with this goal of trying to achieve state?
Yeah, it's such a blessing to be able to play with her. She subs in and serves when I'm in middle back, so we're right next to each other. And she's definitely a big supporter for me. Sometimes in a timeout, I'm like, hey, like, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. And she's like, hey, you got it. So definitely just being there to support each other is so important. And it's just so special having her on the team with me.
What was that like for you? You talked a little bit about having that take a more vocal role being a senior leader.
Mm.
What was it like for you knowing that this year was going to be your year? You had to take over as one of the seniors too. Only one senior last year. Now it's your time to sort of shine, right? What was that like for you to kind of take on that senior leadership role?
I'm not gonna lie, it was a little uncomfortable at first because, Sophia Day last year, she was a great senior leader. She kind of took over the more vocal stuff, and I was more the lead by example and support everyone. And I still do both of those things, but just kind of taking that more vocal role and being a little more assertive has been really important. I actually talked to Soph before the season started and said, "Hey, like, do you have any advice on what I should do to help be a better leader for this team this year?" And she gave me some really good points.
What is some of the best advice you've ever received in your volleyball career too, as far as just maybe sometimes you were down? What is some good advice you've received that you kind of keep in the back of your mind time in and time out?
Um, I'd say like definitely having positive mental talk, because that's really important, in matches, especially, serve receive is a very mental game rather than physical. So that's just an example, but definitely just having a positive mental talk towards yourself will only lead to more positiveness on the court and towards your teammates.
You talk about that, and we talk looking at that Magnificat matchup. You girls were down, I think, in the second set by 6. In the third one, you were down by as much as 8, and you were able to fight back and win both of those. What are you telling yourself to try to keep that positive mindset flow? And what are you trying to do to keep the team positive mindset when things aren't looking too good? You're down by 8. You need to try to make a comeback rally.
Yeah, like for example, I'll look at what is on the other side of the court. Like, they have a weak player in right back. So I'm like, if I can score on this point, get that little bit of momentum for my team, we can push off from here and, talk about it and push off and hopefully gain the lead after that.
How much have you worked on being able to, I guess, precisely aim where you're going to put that ball? Because you ride both lines, near side, far side, really well
Mm.
too, and you're able to paint those corners almost like a pitcher in baseball, right? So, how much have you worked on that too? And I mean, what goes into you being able to get that type of skill and be able to be so precise with your swings?
Yeah, so definitely that's called shot range. And developing that has taken such a long time. For example, the cut 4-to-4 shot, that's probably the hardest one to hit. So, I worked on that for quite some time. And then just growing my volleyball IQ has been really important, kind of seeing where all the opponent is, like blocking wise, defense wise is important too. And just looking where to score is good.
What's currently on your plate on what you're trying to work on in the sport of volleyball?
Um, I'm definitely still working on some defense stuff, middle back stuff, working on it at practice, and then a lot more back row attacking. We haven't really done it a lot the past couple weeks, but we're working on it. So
I don't want to look too far ahead because I know you girls are one game at a time, but let's talk about after senior year too. What are some plans in the plans of Amber Watson
yeah,
after things are said and done with Hoban?
so I'm committed to play at Furman University. It's in South Carolina, so getting out of Ohio.
What was that process like? I mean, going through collegiate visits and going and settling with Furman. What was it about Furman University that made it feel like home? Said, "I want to go here. I want to make this the next 4 years of my life."
Yeah, so it took quite a few visits. I'm not gonna lie, the recruiting process is pretty stressful for everyone, but when I went to Furman, obviously the campus was beautiful and they have great academics, but just the vision for the program, the coach, she's been there for 25 seasons, so she knows what she's talking about. And she has a really good vision for the program, and I'd like to help them out as much as I can. So
Were there certain qualities you were looking for in your college visits? What were those top like qualities, those top things you were particularly looking for?
yeah, so my number one thing was in a program like the family atmosphere. I'm looking for my next family because in college you're with your team all the time. So you want to love the people where you're with. So similar to high school, I love the girls that I play with. So I hope to find that in college. I was really also looking for a strong school academically. I major in health science, going pre-PA route.
Wow.
So something that was really good with that. So Furman checked that off my box. And then, I'd like to go somewhere with a nice campus and, Furman is really nice. So
You
can't
talk
go
about
wrong with it.
you talk about the major, and I'm not surprised because of where your GPA stands. You're a very talented academic student as well as an athletic student. How have you balanced that so well and being able to give time to both and being able to achieve and succeed so much in both?
Yeah, Hoban, they just do such a good job of making sure that their students, are academically supported and everyone is successful. So, I'm taking a lot of classes and all my teachers are really great. They help me out as much as I can. They understand that I'm an athlete. So sometimes maybe if I came back late from a game, they'll be understanding to something like that. So just kind of that flexibility is really helpful and, the academics are great at Hoban.
You're able to manage that. You also said managing the recruiting process, which is a stressful time too. What was it about it that was stressful? What's some advice you give to girls that are going to be going through it, going through the recruiting process, and maybe some things you wish you would have done, or maybe some things you did do that made it a little bit less stressful?
Um, Stressfulness, I'd say mostly just, trying to find that right fit can get stressful at times, especially, once you see all these other girls committing and you're like, oh, I really want to commit soon too. But, some advice I'd give is like, trust the process. It might be long and it might be hard, but, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be. And, that's important, just finding your right fit.
Couple more questions for you. I can't go without us talking about Coach Maloof. He seems like
Mhm.
he is one of the better minds in the sport of volleyball that I've ever gotten a chance to talk to. It feels like he always has something new he could spark up a conversation with. What is it like being coached by Coach Maloof and being under his mindset in high school volleyball?
Yeah, Coach Maloof, he is great. I mean, he's probably my favorite coach that I've ever been coached by, including like club. Like, he's probably my favorite. I just have such a good like player coach relationship with him. Like, he understands how I feel, and he's always there to support and help out. And, his volleyball IQ is crazy. So, sometimes I'll just be like, hey, what's open on the court? He'd be like, all right, do this. And then I'm like, okay, I see that. So, he's just so helpful and he's very supportive of all of us.
Shout out the coach, but I also want to give you the chance to shout out and spotlight whoever else you may like now. This is your chance to spotlight those who have been there for you and people you just want to give a shout out that have been there for you.
Well, first I want to shout out my family because, they're my number one supporters, my parents, my sister, and then my little brother. He's a freshman at Hoban this year, so he's been coming to a lot. Definitely my grandparents as well, my friends, and then, all the people at Hoban who are there to support. So
Well, Amber, we absolutely love having you on for another edition of Player Profile. We love being able to showcase your volleyball career here at Hoban too, and showcase what you've been able to do for them. If you haven't checked out the Knights yet, folks, you need to. This is one of the best volleyball teams we have in the state, and certainly one of the best we have on the network. They are 15-0 for a reason. This has been an edition of Player Profile with one of the senior leaders, Amber Watson.
thank you so much.